What's up, everybody? It's Frederick Douglass Bussey. We're back for another whiteboard session. I'm super excited to have you here because what we're going to talk about today is my secret $1,000,000 productivity hack that I'm sharing with you, that we share with our clients. I'm going to give it all away today. This framework is going to help you to be more productive. I hear a lot of entrepreneurs saying, I'm struggling with time management. I'm struggling to find the opportunity to get the things done that I need to get done. I can't cram it all in. If that is you, if you're struggling with that, you want to stay tuned. We're going to dive into the 5 ways, my 5-step process for being able to create all the time you need to create all the results that you want in your business right now. Let's go to work. All right, now if you're watching this on LinkedIn, Facebook, or YouTube, drop a comment below. Let me know where you're watching this from. Also, as you're walking through this process, I want you to be careful to assess where you are in terms of your own framework. How are you in terms of your own time management? How are you in terms of productivity? How are you at getting all the things done that you need to get done? And what's the output? What are the results that you're getting from your work? Ultimately, the end goal is to be able to hit that 7, 8, or 9-figure mark. If you're not doing that, what is in the way, right? We always want to be assessing where we are objectively. And it's funny how often we ask ourselves what's wrong without actually asking ourselves what's really wrong, right? And so what I want to do today is talk about a way that is going to allow you to be able to assess that after you have figured out where you need to put your energy or where the things need to go. We're going to focus on that process. All right. So let's get going. Faber, good to see you, man. Here's what we want to do. I want to talk about this model here, right? In our Skillosity model, there are 3 pillars that we talk about: mindset, influence, and leverage. Each of these areas has 3 or 4 key components that we break down throughout the process of working with our clients, right? Today, we want to talk about the leverage aspect of it. And leverage has to do with time, money, people, and resources. We'll call those systems or efficiencies, whatever you want to call them, right? But those 4 areas are where we really focus our time and attention. However, the biggest challenge is juggling those. How do we juggle them, keeping all those balls in the air without letting them fall to the floor and crack open? Also, how do we balance this? Where should we put our time and our attention and our focus? And the real key that a lot of times people don't really talk about is that there is no one right answer. The fact of the matter is those things can change. And we'll talk about why that looks that way in just a second, right? But what we do when we're talking about leverage and how we can get more of the activity in our own time as leaders, the owners of the business, the leaders, the CEO, if you're running the operation, wherever you are, you've got to be able to figure out, how do I allocate my time, and most importantly, my focus, right? I talk about this in one of the trainings that I do. I talk about that it's not just about how much time you allocate, but how much focus you can allocate in that time, right? And this is really the hidden secret to being able to get so much time and productivity out of it all. All right, so this is the DIALS framework, right? And I'm going to tell you what DIALS stands for in a second. But essentially, it is understanding how to dial in your time and your focus so you can be fully engaged in work that you're doing. And the reason why we want to be able to do that is because we can find more power out of our ability to be fully present wherever we are, right? And so let's talk about where these different spaces are, right? So D stands for delegate, right? Which simply means understanding where I need to attend to put these different tasks, right? Essentially, you need to be delegating those tasks, whether it's to yourself, whether it's to your calendar, whether it's to another person on your team, whatever the case may be. You need to be assigning that work to be done and understanding delegation is really about knowing one thing. It's about knowing, well, it's about 2 things. It's about knowing what not to do as much as what to do, right? So there's a lot of things that are going to show up on your list. You need to understand what's most important for you to be doing and for you not to be doing. So once you understand what to erase off of your calendar, off of your schedule, off of your plate, right? These are the things that I don't want to do. These are the things that don't get me the greatest ROI on my time and my energy and my focus, right? Just like I have kids, young kids, there's things that they don't like to eat, right? And so they can easily segment and say, I don't want that. Well, you need to be able to look at your plate and say, I don't want that. Not because it's not appetizing, but because it doesn't pour into your business and doesn't get you the right results. Your ROI is not going to be as effective if you're spending a lot of time on things that you don't need to be doing, that are just having you spinning your wheels, burning your time in pointless conversations, long, unfruitful meetings, whatever the case may be. So we want to make sure that we are delegating adequately. The next step is innovate, right? And actually, we're going to add that. Delegation, innovation. Innovation is all about creating, right? We want to be all in the process of creating new things, creating new ways, creating new perspectives, creating more opportunities for the business. If we're not spending enough time innovating, iterating on the business, and actually creating new aspects, creating new power, harnessing new things, then we're going to get stagnant. And very often you'll find that people and companies, when they get to that point and they're not gaining momentum, they're not growing, it's because they don't have something new, a new idea, a new perspective, a new product, a new service. You always need to be in the process of giving yourself time and allocating a portion of your week, a portion of your day to innovating. How can you be innovating as a leader? How can you be innovating as a company? How can you continuously be innovating in your leadership, whatever the case may be? Find ways and spaces that you can continue to innovate. All right, so innovation. The next step is actualization. Now, some people call this implementation, some people call it execution. I like the word actualization because what it does is it makes it an actual thing. It actualizes our our ideas. It actualizes the things that we are assimilating. It actualizes it. It makes it real. It puts it into a tangible outcome or result. And so you need to be spending some time that's completely allocated to actualizing things. How do I implement this into my life, into my schedule, whatever the case may be? It ties directly to the next part of the dials framework, but I want to talk about that because it doesn't really matter. These aren't done in any particular order per se. It's really about how you weight them. We're going to talk about that in a second. The next aspect of it is learning, right? Because when we want to be spending time always learning something new, because when we're learning, we're growing. And when we're growing, we have things that we actually actualize, right? Innovation and learning are very closely tied because when you learn something new, you learn a new perspective. Now you start to be able to think about things and create new things in a new way, right? So learning can be a skill set. It can be coaching. It can be going to a training or a course. It can be reading a book from a thought leader or an industry leader in a particular area. Whatever the case may be, every single day you need to be learning something new. There needs to be time that's allocated specifically for that. And then the last part of this is self-care. Now, this may feel counterintuitive, but self-care is super important because there is no leadership if there is no leader. And very often, when we are driven so hard, we are very ambitious, when we are focused on creating greater success for ourselves and for our companies, for the things that we're out to create in the world, we can lose sight of the fact that we have to take care of ourselves. We need a system of rest and recovery. We need a system of being able to get away, to ease our minds. We need our system to be able to relieve our minds of the pressure of just drilling down and thinking so hard all the time. What's going on, Anthony? Good to see you, man. Thanks for stopping through. What I'm asking that you be able to focus on is realizing that you are valuable. The most important part of your business is you, right? Even if your business is set up that you feel like it can go on without you, you still got to take care of yourself because the next iteration of your business, of your customers, your family, whatever the case may be, all relies on your presence being able to be there. So taking care of yourself is super important. We cannot perform at a high level if we are not treating ourselves with the proper respect and love and really devotion right? The sacredness that we deserve. The Bible says your body is a temple. Well, treat it that way. You need to reverence your human encasing, if you will, and learn how to take care of yourself so you don't get run down. So that because the more run down you are physically and mentally, the more run down your business will be, and you'll start seeing that lack of results that shows up time and time again. As a matter of fact, if you're not getting momentum in some way, you need to look at where you're out of integrity with your self-care. Where am I not taking care of myself enough to be able to get the results that I need to get? And it can feel counterintuitive. Maybe you feel like, oh, I'm taking care of myself too much. I'm being lazy. But laziness is not self-care if there's not other aspects that are going into it, right? So laziness is really procrastination. And procrastination is really our desire to try to rectify the fact that we're not taking care of ourselves, right? There's a psychologist who defines procrastination as the desire to feel good right now. And so that really implies that we're not feeling good and we're not taking care of ourselves. So you need to be able to lean into that, dial into that right there, right? And so when we're talking about dials here, right, the framework that we do, we have a dial here that's hitting the meter right here. And the fact of the matter is that all of these things are not equal, right? So it's not about having, if you want to, there's 5 aspects to it. And if you have 100% of the pie, then it's not that 20% gets allocated for everything. The fact of the matter is that sometimes you need to weight things differently, right? As the CEO or leader of your business, a lot of times you may or may not have the resources to be able to delegate everything off of your plate. Or you may find I'm getting everything off my plate, but this one thing. And so delegation could be 80 or 90% of what you're focused on. How do I get rid of all these other things, right? But you need to have time allocated to looking at what you're doing and saying, these are things that I'm not going to do, right? But you allocate that process according to what you really need. If you need to be in greater creativity, the idea is that the dials process allows you to be able to focus on where you are and what you need at any particular time. You can go from week to week or month to month. And we dive into that more with our clients, being able to customize that and assess that so that it works for them. And from person to person, you're going to find that there are different ways of allocating this or weighting your time, how you're creating your calendar and your schedule. Some people need to have it slam packed, right? And they need every minute accounted for. And some people feel like they need more time to be just open. Whatever the case may be, you need to be able to have a way of looking at your day, your week, and your life in general as a leader to be sure that you're getting the optimal results for yourself so you can get the optimal results for your business, right? The last thing I want to talk about with this is the reason why this is so important. The reason why it's so important is that you'll notice that when the dial is in one particular area, it is also not in all these other areas, right? And one of the biggest myths that we have in this day and age is about multitasking. We feel like we have more computers, more apps, more tools, more things that we can do to get more things done at once. And the fact of the matter is that the human mind is an incredible machine, but it works best when it can be fully present in one place. When we look at the fact that even though we are physically we're able to be virtually in so many different places. You can be on a phone call here. You can be texting someone else there. You can be in a WhatsApp chat. You can be on a Zoom call. You can be on a Microsoft Teams call in different places. You can be in multiple areas at once virtually. Still, the thing that remains is that your focus can only be in one place at a time. I saw a definition for multitasking that said that it's really the ability to screw up multiple things at once, right? And so if you're doing multiple things at once, if your focus is in multiple places at once, it's really no place. And therefore, everything that you're doing is suffering. What the dials framework allows you to do is to be able to figure out exactly where you need to be, where you need to allocate your time, your focus. And now you have the complete confidence to be there fully present, to pour yourself into that space, because you know that it's going to create the greatest possible outcome on the other side. All right. And that's essentially it in a nutshell. The dials framework is about delegation, innovation, actualization, learning, and self-care. So what I want you to do now for me is drop a comment below. if you're watching this in replay, drop a hashtag replay. Let me know and assess for yourself. Where are you at in each of these areas? On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you assess yourself, right? Where could you be doing better? What would you be seeing as greater results if you were able to implement greater focus in any particular area or in this framework as a whole? Let me know what you're discovering and let me see how this is working for you. If you need help or you would like help in being able to implement this process or any part of the Scalosity process into your business to be able to help you to get more momentum, you're hitting 7 figures, 8 figures, or beyond, then feel free to drop a comment below or send me a message on Facebook, YouTube, or LinkedIn, and let us know how we might be able to support you. See if it's a good fit for us to be able to work together to help you to get more momentum and crush your goals. My name is Frederick Douglass Bussey, and I'm here with the Whiteboard Sessions. Always here to support you. Let me know if you are a fan, if you are a follower. If you're not a follower, why not give us a follow on LinkedIn or Facebook or YouTube? Subscribe, smash the like button, share this with somebody that you know. We really want to be here in service for the community, but we can't do that if you're not letting us know how we're supporting you. Let us know what you're discovering from this whole process. All right. Thanks to those of you who stopped by for a second, a minute, or even longer. We look forward to seeing you on the next go round. As always, my name is Frederick Douglass Bussey. Ever forward.